Boker Tov, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for our morning class in Chassidut. Thank you to Raya and Mordechai for broadcasting this shiur to all of you. Usually, at this time, 9:15 every morning, we learn Pirkei Avot according to the teachings of Chassidut. But today and tomorrow, Bezrat Hashem, as we get closer to Tisha B'Av, we're going to learn a number of subjects which are connected to the Beit HaMikdash, the Holy Temple, and its influence on Am Yisroel and its influence on the world. In general, the Beit HaMikdash, the Beit HaMikdash was a place for Hashem, a home, an edifice for Hashem. Now, Hashem doesn't need a home. He doesn't have any physical features, God forbid. So what does it mean to have a home in this world? What it means is that Hashem is here, Hashem is there, Hashem is truly everywhere. But in some places, Hashem reveals himself more than in other places. Especially in this world. This is a world where godliness is concealed, generally speaking. At the end of the day, Hashem wants to be revealed in the entire world, especially in our materialistic world. For some reason, which we don't understand, Hashem wants to have a dwelling place in this world. So he chose a special home, a Beit HaMikdash, and as it says, as our sages teach us, Mimena ora yotzet l'chol ha'olam kulo. From this building, from this holy temple, there's a light that goes out to the entire world. In other words, Hashem chose in his infinite knowledge. Hashem chose this world. Hashem chose the Beit HaMikdash to be a medium through which to bring light into the entire world. So it's not enough that there is one building where there is Gilui Elokut, revelation of godliness. Rather, in every place in the world, in every corner, there needs to be revelation of Hashem. What was the keli? What was the item in the Beit HaMikdash which brought life to the light, which brought light to the world? That was the menorah, the special candelabra, which brought light to the Beit HaMikdash. After all, the obvious question is, why do we need to have light? In the Beit HaMikdash, doesn't Hashem have his own light? Does he need to have an external light in order to bring him light, in order to light up his home? The answer is no. Similar to what we said before, that the light in the Beit HaMikdash was not there, namely, for the Beit HaMikdash itself. Rather, it was there for the entire world. This concept is indicated in a few points of the menorah. First of all, the menorah was one unit, and it was a big ball of gold, pure gold, and miraculously, when Moshe put into the fire, it shaped into a menorah. Now, in each of the 6 branches, 3 on each side and 1 in the middle, that was the menorah and the Beit HaMikdash. There were engraved on each branch, and also towards the base, towards the bottom, you had round balls that were carved. There were also cups and flowers. It was a certain amount on every branch. Everything was very exact. Now, the cups were not regular cups. They were called cups of Alexandria from Egypt. Cups which were wide at the top, but came to a point at the bottom. You know, they have them in doctors' offices and other professional offices. They have them so that you don't put them down. They want you to put them directly into the garbage. They're usually paper cups. And these cups were engraved in the menorah. You'll never believe in which direction these cups were engraved. They were engraved upside down. So the point was on the top, and the opening where you drink from was on the bottom. So the obvious question is, it doesn't make any sense. Why would you put a cup upside down? Moreover, we're talking about the Beit HaMikdash, the Menorah, one of the holiest vessels in the Beit HaMikdash. Why would the cup be engraved upside down? Everything needs to be exact. And the answer is that that engraving the cup upside down gives the exact main message of what the menorah is symbolized. I just want to mention first, before I explain, that you can see in the Rambam how the Rambam himself, with his holy handwriting, drew the menorah. By the way, the branches were diagonal. Rashi also says that, and we'll get into that soon, hopefully. But right now we're focusing on the cups. So you can see how the Rambam draws the cups upside down. It's the actual picture, the actual drawing of the Rambam. Now, what's the difference between a pitcher, a bottle, and the cup? Both vessels contain liquid within it. So what's the difference? The difference is that when there's liquid in the bottle, it's meant to keep the liquid inside. Whether for 10 minutes or for 10 days or for 10 years. You fill up the bottle, it's supposed to contain the liquid inside. What's the point of a cup? The point of a cup is, if you want to drink it, in other words, you want to empty it, then you drink from the cup. So what's the point of the bottle? Is to stay upright. What's the point of the cup? The point of the cup is to pour into your own mouth. It's not appropriate to drink directly from the bottle. The bottle, on the contrary, is there to keep. When you want to drink, then you pour from the bottle into the cup, because the main function of the cup is to drink from, not to keep in. If you want to keep a certain amount of liquid, you keep it in the bottle, you close the cap, and that's it. You put it in the fridge or whatever, or in the storage house. The point, the main function of the cup is to pour out, to get rid of it. In other words, upside down. For right side up, we have a bottle, a pitcher. That would serve as the purpose of the bottle or the pitcher. Having said that, now we could understand why the cup of the menorah, the cups were engraved upside down. Because the main point of the menorah was to pour outwards, to inspire the world, to light up the world outwards and bring in inspiration, to spread light throughout the world. So that's why the cup was upside down, because that's like pouring out, sharing, spreading around, not keeping for oneself, rather giving. Based on this, we could also understand why the windows of the Beit HaMikdash were in a very strange way. Last week I was at a special event in the old city in Yerushalayim, and I was in an amazing shul that had 4 huge minyanim in there, 4 huge shuls inside. And the walls of this building were so wide, they were more than a meter wide, which is approximately 3 feet, if not 4 feet. I didn't measure it, but it was tremendously wide. Now, normal windows today are straight. The walls, the frame of the window is totally straight. For the whole meter, it's cut straight. In the olden days, they used to carve out the windows in a way that it was not straight. In the outside, it was narrow or narrower. And as it came in towards the inside of the building, it became more open and wide and broad, in order that the light should come into the home, because they did not have electricity then, and the main source of electricity of light, the main source of light was from the daylight. So by having the window, as it gets more inside, it widens. That brings and spreads the light throughout the house. But by the Beit HaMikdash, it was the opposite. You had the inside was more narrow, and as it became towards the outside, it broadened. That doesn't make any sense. Why would they do that? Why would they build a Beit HaMikdash in such a way that is the opposite of what logic dictates? It's like the joke that the guy puts on the air conditioning and leaves the window wide open. So he says, his friend says to him, "Why are you opening the window? Are you going to cool off the whole Rechavia? Are you going to cool off the whole Jerusalem?" The point of the air conditioning is to cool off the inside, so you keep the windows closed. Answer is, your question is the answer as well. Yes, correct. The main function of the Beit HaMikdash was to spread Elokut, to spread godliness throughout the world. Hashem himself does not need to have light. Hashem has the ultimate light. Hashem is light. But Yerushalayim is Oro Shel Olam. Yerushalayim is the light of the world. And the Beit HaMikdash was the source, the beacon of light, the foundation of light of the entire world. So we did not have to have the windows in such a way that it should bring light into the house. On the contrary, the point was to bring light to the world. That's why the windows were in such a way that it was open, broad, open wide towards the outside, and narrow towards the inside. I'd like to mention another point about the menorah. We mentioned it earlier in passing by, but it's important that we put a focus on it. When we draw the menorah, when we think about the menorah of the Beit HaMikdash, we need to remember that it was really, the branches were diagonal. And I know that some people do it round, draw the branches round, and some people draw the branches square. But we have to draw the branches according to how Torah says. And the Rambam and Rashi, both Maimonides and Rashi, two of our greatest sages, the beginning of the Rishonim, that lived approximately 850 to 950 years ago, they both draw that it was, and they both indicate that it was Ba'alachson, that was diagonal. What is one of the proofs, quote unquote proofs, that the menorah was round? The branches of the menorah were round. is that in the gate of Titus in Rome, you have the menorah engraved. You can see how the Romans stole many of the items of the Beit HaMikdash, and they engraved these figures and these items in the inside of the arch. When I was 14 years old, I had the zechut to be in Yeshivat Kayetz in Italy. We went once to Rome on a trip, and they had blocked off the gate. They had blocked off the Titus's gate, the Shar Titus. And there was a little space underneath. And I had learned this sikh of the Rebbe that I'm going to share with you in a second. And I remember that I squeezed underneath, and I got a picture. I got a picture of how it's engraved. The menorah is engraved round, not diagonal. So how could the Rambam and Rashi say that really the menorah was diagonal? Isn't this a pretty good proof from those people themselves that stole the menorah? So they had the menorah. This is what they brought back with them to Rome. So the answer is a very simple answer. If you have the opinion of two of our greatest sages of history, the Rambam and Rashi, verse what evil people, thieves, perhaps even murderers, did and took from the Beit HaMikdash, who would you believe? Who would you trust? The thieves? The thugs? The evil people? Obviously not. We trust Rashi. We trust the Rambam. They are our true sources and teach us history, and of course not those that try to forge history. It's a breath of fresh air to hear from time to time, like we heard yesterday and today, that more and more items, objects, today they found something from 2,600 years ago in the Shomron. It's amazing. Excuse me. It's amazing what the archaeologists are finding now. And it's terribly disturbing and horrific to hear about how the Muslims are ruining our history. So this is what I'm trying to bring out, that what is the true history is what our sages teach us. That is true history. And so you might still ask, well, so what does it mean what the menorahs were that were engraved inside the Shar Titus? So the Rebbe says a very interesting answer. If you look at the Va'ala Nisim, the prayer that we say on Chanukah, and we talk about the miracle of Chanukah, the miracle mainly of the war, that's what's discussed in the bracha of Bimei Matityahu, in the Va'ala Nisim. So it says over there, V'hidliku neirot b'chatzrot kodshecha, and they lit candles in the courtyards of your sanctuary. And as we see in the Rambam, that in the Azara, in the courtyard of the Beit HaMikdash, there were 11 menorahs, 11 candelabras, not as the menorah per se, as being one of the objects of the Beit HaMikdash, one of the holiest objects of the Beit HaMikdash. Rather simply candelabras when you want to have a happy occasion. So you take a nice branch, nice candelabras, and you light them for the festivities. So also in the Azara, they had these 11 menorah, 11 candelabras, which they would light at a festive occasion. So now when they came back from the war, so the Rebbe says that's probably what was engraved inside the Shar Titus were those candelabras which were lit inside the Chatzer, inside the courtyard of the Beit HaMikdash, for celebration and for excitement. So in summary of what we've learned today, we've learned about the main focus of the Beit HaMikdash, which was to bring light to the entire world, to warm up the world, to inspire the world with the existence of Hashem, with the revelation of godliness, with the objective that Bezrat Hashem, the excuse me, that the revelation of Hashem should not only be in the Beit HaMikdash, but it should spread out through the entire Yerushalayim. Yerushalayim should be the light of the world. Orosh Olam should spread out to the entire Eretz Yisrael and ultimately to the entire world. Thank you very much for joining us today, and thanks to all of you who came last night. It was an amazing talk that we had in honor of the marking the 9 days leading up to Tisha B'Av. Tomorrow we'll be learning also at 9:15 about the Aron HaKodesh, the Holy Ark. 9:30 on Friday morning we'll have a special edition of the Kabbalah Cafe. Shabbat, I look forward to seeing everybody. Shabbat Chazon, the Shabbat before Tisha B'Av. And of course, if Mashiach is not here yet, on Motzai Shabbat, right after Shabbat, at 9 o'clock, we're going to have Ma'ariv at Chabad. After everyone said Baruch HaMavda Ben Kodesh L'chol, and you've changed your shoes to slippers. And at 9:15, we'll do the Echa, the Lamentations at Chabad. And then after Lamentations, at about 9:45, we're going to have a special viewing of a documentary by Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson, Bezrat Hashem. All the best. Sheyibaneh Beit HaMikdash. May we have the Beit HaMikdash immediately. Shalom, shalom, and have a wonderful day.